Morning, everybody. So this video is actually being done early in the day. Man, last night was rough. I didn't like the fact that I had to post the video technically today around 1 o'clock by the time the download got done after I finished editing everything. That was pretty rough for me. But just like in the description of that video, I keep telling myself, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be able to put out as real of a take on what the daily life is that I go through. Not because I'm looking for exposure per se or anything. I don't even really have to justify it. I'm a little alarmed and surprised in some ways by how well this is working, though, to keep a record of my mental ups and downs. Most of the videos have been a little bit later in the day and in the evening, so I get it and I squeak in right under like the 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock hour and get it online quickly. And like today, this is right around 1 o'clock or so. So that's fine. In case you're wondering why it's all smoky, foggy over here, that's just how the ambient light is coming in across the sunlight. And I don't know what's going on. It's lighting. I've tried moving a few things and I'm not the best gaffer. I don't understand a lot of the lighting aspects yet, and this one's just totally got me confused as to why it's just lit like this on this side. And see, like, even if I kind of move my hand here, like, it's almost like I did this weird effect here, like this is desaturated and I have a filter line or a mask or something here. Not wearing that kind of mask today. No, honestly, I talk about masking and other stuff like that a lot, but this is one where after last night, I think I felt a little bit better. And I spent a little bit of time here right before I came downstairs to record this. I stood out on my deck and just looked out at my very, very brown yard. And sometimes there's this thing that I call it grounding, but I don't know if it's exactly true. I noticed it in the video where I was cleaning the lightsabers and talking to you guys. In that video, as I was cleaning the lightsabers, and even the reason I'm messing with my blue pencil, I was able to focus on cleaning that and then be able to get my wording out better. But I struggled with that last night while I was eating. Now, some of that, and this is being completely open and very honest, is a little bit of the shameful aspect of eating food. And, nobody should be ashamed of eating. But to acknowledge and capture on video the fact that I was being stressed and I was being petulant or just down, and I went and ate in a parking lot just to get the whole moment over, just to kind of get it done, was pretty alarming, honestly. It was surprising. It wasn't anything I really expected. And then I truncated that video massively. There was a good 45 minutes. If I take out all the time that I was physically eating the food, that I was sitting there thinking, that I had some real rough emotional moments, those were things I didn't want to put on the video. Not because I didn't want them out there, but some of them I thought I have to find a balance between what is presentable and what is just ludicrous in its regard to what good does it do for the final product, for the final end of this journal entry. This is meant as a receptacle of memories for me. And I know either trauma or sadness or happiness. So I don't have to have all of those high and low points exactly locked down every single time. That doesn't help me. What did help was seeing myself literally in that light, no pun intended, and understanding it, even the lighting in that, like just the singular street lamp down on me, kind of that whole thing was, the videos felt more alone, more isolated, and it was really kind of a stark contrast. I'd always joked how movies and televisions will go out, television shows will go out of their way to when a scene is filmed. And I mean, if you're any student of film, if you know anything like that, or even if you just love movies, there are certain things that will say, hey, this is the villain, this is the good guy, this lighting is this way, this is scary, this is not. But I was surprised how life will often imitate art in that regard. I don't know. It was an interesting and very needed moment. So for any of you that were able to watch it, I understand I really shortened it a lot. And I understand there's people that are uncomfortable watching it. It really wasn't anything that bad. And I think I kept it as lighthearted as I could. And but it is interesting to see like how a journal entry for me can become really discombobulated and really, with no intention, just confusing. And I felt a little bit of that, quite a bit of that, quite frankly, after I got that done. On to other news, going back to one of my earlier videos about AI, there is now a class action lawsuit being levied, and I believe it's from a few illustrators that I've met at some shows, one of them being Carla Ortiz. Now, there may be multiple class action suits. I promise I worked out, I did exercises before this and still having problems with enunciation and diction. The class action lawsuits are being levied because AI utilizes what it finds. What is interesting is, I believe it's against the three major ones like Midjourney and two others. They recently, in their user legal terms, now I don't know if this is a recent addition or if anyone bothered to keep track of this or not, it appears they threw their users under the bus. That isn't surprising. They're companies, they're corporations, they're going to protect themselves. They're a limited liability corporation, more than likely. And yet, there was a fellow that published a book in one weekend of AI imagery and written by AI, and he published it. There's a lot of questions that come up there. What is happening? What does this mean? What will the next month be like? Is this going to have any repercussion? Is it going to stop anyone from using this? No, it's never going to stop them. Is it going to curtail it? Probably. Is the fad going to die? The trend going to die down? More than likely. But it's still frustrating. It's still extremely, extremely frustrating. I never thought, when you're a kid, you see science fiction. And it's alarming to see how much science fiction becomes truth today. On that note, though, there are plenty of people that I've seen interviews from and stuff over the years that said things like, if it weren't for Star Trek, I'd never have gone into engineering. I'd never have gone into design. I'd never have done these sort of things. And it's mind-boggling how life can imitate art and art can imitate life. I don't even know where to begin with how weird that is. A part of me believes that whole infrastructure is self-fulfilling at the exact same time that it's inspirational. And it's just like a wheel that has opposite weights that continually keep it in a centrifugal form. They feed off one another. Now, there's already been some arguments made, and this was on, I believe, the Cartoon Research Group on Facebook. Someone made a post saying, I need everyone here to understand exactly how AI works. Now, I think a good number of people understand the gist of it, especially in the creative field. In this circumstance, this is a gentleman saying it is almost impossible to say that this stuff isn't recreated art that isn't in some way culled from others, but the end result could be trademarked, could be copyrighted, could be considered owned because it is an original take on a multitude of things. And they used the comparative notion that plenty of artists will read a book, read a comic book, read a novel, go to an art gallery showing, witness a comet falling. And because of those actions, we reinterpret them and interpolate them into a brand new thing that is wholly our own. But yes, inscribed and dug up from our personal experiences. I think what this is going to lead to is a lot of shit talking everywhere. In person, online, you name it. It's not over. Not by a long shot. And I'm certain that in the end, what it's going to cause is a lot more division. And a lot of these artists they're wanting to call themselves, I believe, synthographers. That sounds like somebody who was in a a post-new wave band or something. Like they played something that involved keyboards. And in that regard, that would be kind of cool. But a synthographer, I find that really funny because the term synthetic, that's a copy. It's not the real thing. So maybe not that term for you guys. Maybe that's not working. But just like I commented back on the fellow that did the book with written AI and art by AI and published it. So he can't draw and he can't write, but he is a hack. And those are pretty strong words, but that's sincerely what I feel. I know so many people that put their life's time into doing something. I'm in that club. There are a lot of struggles that come with that. I often believe that when we're stuck with a concept of whether or not something is art, there will always be critics on either side. One of my favorite painters is Jackson Pollock. I don't remotely do anything like him. But Jackson Pollock is known for splatter paint. I like it because it is voraciously, wildly different than what I do. And I have mad respect for that. The random wild abandon. How he would listen. One thing I have picked up from him, and when I first discovered him, I discovered that this aspect about him. And I could be wrong on this, but this is where what I remember from my art history class. When he was creating a piece, he would listen to the same song or the same album, I believe, over and over and over again on record. I do similar things to stay in an emotive, little crib of some kind for this scene or this particular story run or this particular illustration. I will listen to playlists on YouTube. I'll listen to certain things that all carry the same gravitas or the same sort of happiness or something. Just to evoke a mood for me to get through the work long enough. And sometimes that's why I'm also able to keep a much more cohesive model to something I create, because I'll listen to the same sorts of music, same albums over and over again. And when I do find new work or new art in regards to music, I save those for later. I'm like, oh, that's going to be really good for this later. I don't know. Really, I wish I had an idea as to what this was going to do, because right now, I'll be completely honest, is AI art affecting me right now directly? Can't say that it is. Not really. But I do believe that if left unchecked, it can cause a wild amount of problems, because to the very legal words that are on Midjourney's website, they even state, as you saw, there's very little that can be trademarked, very little that is used for commercial purposes. And yet there's a lot of people that are going to do that. They're going to go ahead and ignore that. We're going to see that start showing up at shows. I'm not surprised that some of the shows have started to really aggressively make a stance on that, whether pro or against. And what really worries me is some of the older generation that do the other outdoor shows, or people that maybe aren't that used to using computers. Even like there are people I know that are phenomenal oil painters, photographers, other stuff like that. They don't touch the computer. They might check their email. They have one sitting at home, but they don't game on it. They don't do anything with it. They're not even on social media. It's crazy, that generational gap and what we utilize it for. I mean, I'm an illustrator and I don't even use it as much as I should. I'm trying to change that, but I certainly am interacting on it all the time. Weird thought process, but either way, I got a lot to process through today, and so I'll make this video quick and just go ahead and end it now, because sometimes I find that if I'm too focused on something, like I actually had a little bit of a stress attack yesterday thinking, man, I have to get this video out, which is good. I wanted to get that out. I didn't need the stress, but I wanted I wanted to get this done early today so I can go ahead and focus on the rest of my day and get through it and see what else I can get accomplished without freaking myself out too much. It's going to be a long day. But at least I don't have the headaches or the pain or issues that I've had the last 2-3 days. And that's okay. They come and they go. Some of it's attributed to just feeling terrible mentally. Some of it's because I slept wrong or something. It's that fucking age thing creeping up on me. Don't like that either. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. And for those of you that maybe have stumbled across this video and everything, I don't introduce myself in most of these videos because, again, this is a personal record. But if you've made it this far in the video, I am Mario the Artisan Rogue, and I am on a lot of different social media and different things like that. But this is just a series that is on my YouTube channel. It's kind of isolated on its own. But it's specifically for me just to be able to record my thoughts and processes over the course of a year across a wide multitude of things. And this is now the 16th, 17th video? 16th video, I believe. That is a trip. I don't even know what I'm going to say. This is my 200th video. I have no idea. I am looking forward to it. But then the problem will be like, how do I go back and watch all this stuff? I don't think I'm supposed to. I think it's just good enough to get it down. And then if other people enjoy it, great. So, until the next video, you all have a good day. And I'll see you guys then.